Hey there, fellow aviators! Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dimitri, and today I will tell you a story about the carbon monoxide poisoning. This story could have been told by NTSB if I would get a little higher levels of the gas and wasn't able to complete the flight. I was flying in full IMC, and being on the edge of your capabilities is critical there. So grab your favorite drink and I'll tell you all about how this almost happened, what you can do to prevent this, and why is this CO gas so lethal. Don't forget to subscribe to be updated on the next videos on teaching on ground school, all the videos that I post, and let's go learn my story. So first of all, what is carbon monoxide? It is a incompletely oxidized carbon. Normal CO2 gas that we exhale has 2 oxygen and this one has just 1, which makes it very potent. It binds with your blood a lot more active than the oxygen would by itself. That's what makes it lethal. And it has no smell, it has no color, it has no taste, it has no warning until it's kind of getting too late. And the warnings, they sneak in on you. You get headache, then nausea, then dizzy, and then breathless. And then if you just stay in that environment, that will lead to a full loss of consciousness. Now, in the airplane, especially flying IMC, you need a lot of concentration. What could kill you is probably losing that edge of concentration versus just losing the consciousness from the gas. And the carbon monoxide problem is really serious. I am videotaping this in 2024, and look at the date. Just exactly, today is December 28, just exactly 3 years ago, NTSB is seriously considering requiring carbon monoxide detectors in certain GA aircraft, which is what I fly. And there is a lot of background examples, and there are unfortunately many more examples than what they list, but this airplane impacted terrain in Georgia, pilot died, toxicology report indicated impairing levels of CO. Well, do you think that pilot was flying and just trying to wait it out? No, he clearly had no idea that this is happening, and that is because the gas has no warning. Now, what tricks people in, I believe, to my opinion, is look how they describe it. Headaches, drowsiness, nausea. It's like, oh, come on, if I'll feel headache or drowsiness, I'll certainly consider effect of CO, but do you start to lose the edge well before you're feeling the headache? And then everyone is different on their levels of headache. And then they go on to say, well, if the pilot does not quickly recognize those early symptoms, which all of us will have the macho attitude or one of those other hazardous attitudes, like, yeah, well, I'll definitely recognize this soon enough, right? Well, the good news is technology is here to help. Okay, but first, let's just cover the basics. What do we know from the PHAK, the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge? In the chapter on carbon monoxide poisoning, we know that it's colorless, odorless gas, okay, produced by all exhaust engines, okay. That's, they tell about the hemoglobin, okay, good. And, but then they say, if a strong odor of exhaust gas is detected, assume CO2 is present. That, I think, that just tricks you into expecting that you could smell exhaust. Well, not necessarily. In my case, I smelled nothing. Something else I think that's worth remembering. What do we read in the PHAK about the nature of this issue? They say that technicians should be aware of the rate of exhaust heating system deterioration. So those systems, they fail. They will fail within a certain period of time. Depends on how many hours, depends on how hot you run your engine, how you store the airplane, is there rust or moisture, it just depends. But what they tell for sure is the leak will happen. The airplane heat exchanger will definitely crack and will leak exhaust on you. Not necessarily you will smell it. And that really depends. Okay, so back to the carbon monoxide. It is a natural part of engine burning fuel. It's always there. However, there is a lot more of that when engine is running rich. And you'll probably have some of the exhaust gas leaking through the pipes, through the exhaust connections elsewhere, and from under the hood of an airplane, some of that will leak into the plane, guaranteed. But if you're running your engine too rich, if you never lean it, you'll have a huge concentration of CO gas in those leaks. And that has played into my experience, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And the worst place that the CO gases will leak into the plane in a typical traditional plane with a exhaust gas heat exchanger is through that box. It has kind of thin walls and it will definitely crack and let the gases through eventually. One of those days when you least expect it. Now, how you detect that? The basic minimum that many plane owners install is that paper sticker with a little white sensitive area that will turn dark if you have dangerous levels of CO. Well, the problem is you may not pay attention before it's too late. If it's dark, I'm not sure you can see that in your airplane, and many people just let it expire. Also, I have heard stories that those patches, they just don't work. At any real dangerous levels, they still stay white. Well, the good news, technology is here. The picture on the left that I have, that one is a digital unit that I actually had experience with just yesterday. The unit is very sensitive. Yeah, let's jump on the video. But maybe before that, just looking at the levels. The ppm means parts per million. So anything from 0 to 9 parts per million is just fine. Every CO gas exists in the air we breathe just normally. If it goes up to 30, you will get nausea and headache if you stay in that room for a long time. If the furnace is leaking, if you are asleep, even a tiny bit, by the morning you'll get a headache. Now, if it goes up to 35, you'll start getting more symptoms like flu, and those symptoms, more headaches, more maybe some nose and throat sensations, and they get worse for sensitive people, older people or kids or people with maybe some lungs problems. They will get this a lot worse than a healthy human being. Now, if you go up to 100, 36 to 99, there'll be a lot more headaches. You probably start feeling nausea. You may throw up, you'll be tired, and that's when people tend to lose the concentration. Especially dangerous if you're flying AMC and if you're flying single pilot, there's no one else there to back you up. And then, of course, well, the worse it gets, the higher the concentration gets, it will become lethal at some moment. But let's just hope you don't have to experience that. Okay, so knowing all this is great. You probably know this, you probably read through this, you definitely were told about this at your private pilot ground school. Now, what made me feel scared and maybe lucky at the same time is this video posted on my channel. Just a few days prior, I took a solo trip to Astoria from Aurora, Oregon. And the weather got really bad on the way, so I had to do a pop-up IFR request and went through some weather. Some of, let's say, 20 minutes were kind of intense, with real bad visibility and a lot of mountains below me. There is no place to land if I'd screw up.
Seattle Center, Cherokee 7846, November 20 miles south of Astoria with pop-up IFR request.
Cherokee with a pop-up request, do you have anything on file?
Negative, sir. I was planning VFR, but the weather is a little worse, so I would appreciate help with a pop-up 46 November. Так. Включу.
All that time, I did not have a CO detector ready and working there in the plane with me. I had a chance to have it on, but I was really not concerned because you'd probably smell exhaust. You'd probably feel a headache and then you pop that window open or the vent open, right? Well, they tell you that although it's odorless, they kind of set expectations that you will smell the fumes of exhaust. Well, nothing. And interesting enough, thinking back, the day after that flight, my muscles did feel sore, like I went for a run. I was wondering, that's kind of weird. I don't typically have muscle pain even if I exercise, but whatever, it's probably minor. Well, looking back and reading up on CO poisoning, those two things could be very well related. And here is the video of that CO detector working. I read the values up to the 50s, 60s, and then you can see me moving it outside into the little window to the fresh air, and the reading quickly drops to 0. I put it back inside, 62, 70, it's clearly reading the change in the air. Then I take it back outside again, and it's back down to 0 pretty quickly. It is a sensitive little unit. Now, me and my co-pilot flying in the plane have felt nothing. Luckily, none of us got headache or nausea or anything, but 70, if you remember the scale that I just shared, 70 ppm is a lot of CO. That was a high concentration, which will cause your head to get headache and to lose concentration if you sit there long enough. Now, what could have saved us is the fact that I was leaning the engine out very properly, using the EGT and really staying just 40-50 degrees reach of peak. The CO alarm went off during the takeoff. Once in cruise, it was showing just a couple of units, which tricked us into believing that was a false indication. Thinking back, it made perfect sense. We were still getting exhaust gases inside an airplane, but engine running very much lean next to the peak lean position was producing very little CO. Coming in for landing, going through my checklist, pre-landing checklist, mixture rich, go full forward, and soon enough, that alarm starts blaring at us again. And it only made sense a few hours later. The gases were in the plane all the time. The CO concentration was low in flight because of a lot of air moving and because of engine running lean. If you run it rich in flight, you probably wouldn't have made it back because of the CO poisoning. That's another good reason to keep your engine running lean where it should be. So what's the takeaway from this story? Just get one. Looking at Amazon as of today, December 2024, you can go as cheap as $20 and it probably works. You can go up to 100-ish, like that Otis unit that we had. That's a very robust aviation purposed good unit. and just keep it on. You will not expect, or you will not be prepared to see that CO concentration rise when it does. You will be very surprised, and you really need to know about this before you get the symptoms, because when you do, it's probably too late, especially if you are flying IMC in the clouds. It may be just too late by the time that you feel any symptoms. Stay safe, fly out there with a CO detector, put it in your bag, spend those $100. It's nothing in the grand scheme of flying costs, but it really saves lives. And stay well. See you in the skies.